Hey, you got Firewatch. Wake up. You got Firewatch.
This is pacho. Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the field op. I know that Baby Friday is upon us, or Friday Night Eve, as I also like to call it. Man, you know, it's a rainy day here in beautiful Hollywood, Florida. So hopefully it won't be thunderbolts and lightning and very, very frightening me. See what I did there? Anyways, before we get started, let's get all the logistics out of the way. This show is brought to you by our awesome sponsors, one of them being Primerica. So I know I've seen a lot of, if you've seen on social media right now, you've seen a lot of younger folks talking about, hey, here's how the rich get richer. And they talk about, an IUL, an index universal life policy, or a cash value policy, or variable life. Nonetheless, those are only cash value policies, and the way they're sold to you is basically, hey, for for this much of an amount, we're going to cover you for this much, and at the end of so many years, you're going to have this amount of money saved. And while that may sound pretty good and lucrative to anybody, the uneducated investor or regular person, if you were to do the math and you invest those products and you talk to an individual who represents Primerica, it will tell you, and they can show you on their computer software, that at the end of the day, those products don't do much, and your money doesn't grow. As it grows some, but not to its full potential. And two, you never mix insurance with investing. So you split them, get a small, a term basic policy, because for a term you pay this much, but you get this much coverage, and then the remainder money that you would have paid on one of those other insurance policies, you grab that money and you put it in something like a mutual fund that gives between 8 to 12% rate of return. So bottom line is, it's all right there on the show link bio. Go on there on the website, put your name down. 30-minute no commitment phone call or a face-to-face visit could get you a lot of good information that can set you up for success down the road. So it's all right there. And also, the show is brought to you by Castle Global Services. At Castle Global Services, there's a bunch of really awesome products that for your home or your business. One of the products that they have over there, they have a cable. So if you want to switch cable providers or maybe get a better rating, go on there at castleglobalservices.acnibo.com and click on the tab of all the services that they have, and try it out. See what products are offered in your area and at what cost. And you may save yourself a couple of bucks, because in a day and age where the economy is at 8% inflation, you want to stretch your dollars as much as you can. So, in addition to that, this show is now being sponsored by the VA. So here's a message from the VA.
Hi, I'm Mike Richmond of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with this message for veterans. Are you seeking to honor those who have served and sacrificed for their country? Visit the Veterans Legacy Memorial. This digital platform, run by VA's National Cemetery Administration, is dedicated to the memory of nearly 4.5 million veterans interred at VA's national cemeteries, VA's grant-funded tribal, state, and territory cemeteries, and 2 U.S. National Park Service cemeteries. The memorial's interactive features allow people to remember veterans by posting tributes and comments, uploading images, and sharing a veteran's military timeline, achievements, biographical information, historical documents, and more. Over 45,000 submissions have been made to the existing profile pages since the site was launched. That's the Veterans Legacy Memorial. I'm Mike Richmond.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for that awesome message. And I keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it on each show that we do, is that right now is the time to put in for any claims and such. Particularly if you're one of those folks who fall in the and have deployed to when you were you know, Operation Enduring Freedom, and as well as other you got to meet the time frame for the burn pit registry, including Vietnam folks. Uh, you should be applying right now, and any other veteran, if even if you don't, now's the time to apply for your benefits, because pretty much they're really looking and your chances of getting that desired whatever VA claim rating you want to get. Uh, it is very likely that you'll get that. So, do yourself the justice and go ahead and apply, regardless of whether you deployed or not. Those are benefits that you earn and that you want to be covered, because as we get older, trust me, I know this for a fact. There are a lot of things that will start going to the wayside, so to speak, and you just want to be covered and compensated and treated for it at the VA. And even if you don't like the VA, I mean, depending on how far you live from one, you may be outsourced to a civilian doctor, where whatever it is that if that's something that you desire. But nonetheless, give it a shot, check it out. And last but not least, the show is brought to you by the Great American Constitution. So I served for 21 years in this awesome country of ours, and I supported and I protected these documents that give us our freedoms, like the right to bear arms, freedom of speech, all that good stuff. So if you like what you hear and seen, follow, like and subscribe, follow, and recommend us to somebody else, and pass the show around for your local podcaster. And if you don't, that's fine too. That is your freedom. So go ahead and swipe left and check someone out from sitchradio.com. The folks who run this show for gracious and are very gracious for their help. So support one of their shows on it. There's a bunch of cool stuff that I'm sure that you like, from Brian Colburn, Todd DeBow, Aaron Seabird, and many, many more. Anyways, so thanks a lot, and then so let's kick off the show. So I know when I was in the Marine Corps, our commandant really used to push to us that, and it didn't matter the rank, from junior Marine all the way up to general. Leaders are readers. I mean, that was embedded into me right from the get go. So I'm pretty sure just about every Marine has read a Message to Garcia. I can tell you that right now. So excuse me. Basically, it's a really cool story, and basically it's about accomplishing your mission. So one thing, and the book it's a really short story, and in the end, basically this guy goes through hell and back just to deliver a message. You know what I'm saying? So there was an internal joke within the Marine Corps that, hey, instead of just saying, hey, make this shit happen, it's just, hey, Marine, message to Garcia. So you might throw that around to a Marine, but that was a phenomenal book. And that was just as a junior Marine. Prior to coming to the Marine Corps, I mean, I was already I've always enjoyed reading, and it's they say, I forgot where I read it. This is like even before I joined the Marine Corps, that for every hundred words that you read, you'll learn a new one. So obviously, you got to read your ass off to improve and enhance your vocabulary, and you can tell the difference between somebody that's an uneducated individual that, for whatever reason, uh, just by the way they talk and express themselves, you'll know if this person, how rich their vocabulary, or maybe it's just some dumbass like me. I mean, even though I consider myself educated, I are good at things. Uh, you, you know, uh, we use sometimes I'll use some adjectives and some explicit language. However, I know how to read a room as well, and say, it's come across like I didn't just fall of the dumbass stroke. You know what I'm saying? but nonetheless, I've always enjoyed the classics like Edgar Allan Poe. Um, uh, Even as a ESL English second language type of guy, I mean, I've read the classics. I was in AP English. Believe it or not, this sexy ass accent, um, and it was used to be an AP, basically advanced placement in English classes and that sort of thing while in high school. But I enjoy Edgar Allan Poe. Another favorite writer of mine is James Fenimore Cooper, who wrote the Leatherstocking Tales. So if any of you who kind of my age, or for the ladies out there, whoever the Last of the Mohicans, the movie from the '90s and all that stuff. I mean, that is James Fenimore Cooper. Fantastic. I mean, that dude basically wrote some of the first superheroes. If you read those, the Leatherstocking Tales, fantastic. I highly recommend it. So the point I'm trying to make is that you know reading has always been something that I enjoyed. I know in the Marine Corps we used to read. I mean, there are some books that was just like, oh my god, just some really hard to chew through. But nonetheless, uh, you as a Marine and as a leader, as part of self growth, yeah, I did my due diligence because you have to, and read those books so that way I not only I had to I can advance, but also meet my requirement as far as my professional education through the military, in order to compete and be competitive amongst my peers for my next promotion. Because unlike I know there are some services where you take a test and you get advanced and blah blah blah, in the Marine Corps, you compete and you're graded by your peers in the same rank and so on and so forth. But so I was kind of over the last as I've been doing some self growth, just like I like to do every once in a while, kind of revamp myself and take new classes and educate myself. I'm getting some state licenses right now, which I've been doing a lot of studying. I mean, I've been studying my ass off uh, pretty much since for the last, I don't know, 4 months going on now for these exams through the state, which are very difficult. Uh, so I take every opportunity that I can to study my ass off. And so reading has, even though I've been doing an educational reading, the regular reading on reading books that would kind of entertain me or self growth, whatever, has been very minimum. So usually I'll resort to audiobooks. When in that case, I do enjoy audiobooks, depending on the individual that does how they somewhat act out the book. But if it's just somebody that's just kind of like um, the teacher from Ferris Bueller, if you've seen that movie, it's just kind of dead and monotone. Uh, then I usually just turn out. I won't listen to it, and I much rather see the words and read it, because I find it, for me it's much easier to retain the information, so I can recall it later on. Oh yeah, this book said this, blah blah. Blah. So I'll listen. So bottom line is, I've been doing a lot over the last couple of months. I've been doing a lot of audiobooks from Amazon. But one thing so I was kind of looking at reading about different individuals who've made a lot of money, who are millionaires and whatever the case. Folks like President Trump, um, the guy who owns Forbes, uh, you know, uh, and even just somebody from I guess you could say some of the folks who have monopoly in the earlier century of the 1900s. And to today, Grant Cardone is another guy that I thoroughly uh, enjoy what he does. And the guy's a super millionaire. Tony Robbins, all these guys. So I just kind of for shits and giggles, I was just kind of do a little bit of research, and obviously I follow them on Instagram and Facebook and such. But one thing is that a common denominator amongst all these people and the folks who I've been hanging out to getting some of these investment licenses that I'm going through is common denominator on all these people. Everybody has read this book, Think and Grow Rich. For whatever. So I was like, holy cow. My wife as I was reading this book, I asked him one day, "Hey, have you read the book?" "Oh yeah, I read it." Uh, so I was like, "What? Did you read it? How come you never told me?" Well, obviously, I never asked. But I mean, I asked recently. She goes, "Yeah, I've read that book. I read it. I read it a while back. I thought, and it was great." So because she also likes Dave Ramsey, who I too follow, and I enjoy a lot of his, a lot of things that he says and things like that. Anyways, so the common denominator is this book, Think and Grow Rich. I was like, holy shit! I mean, obviously, I have goals and things that I'm always constantly striving to. Growing my wealth is one of them. I got to read this book and see what why did all these people, what prompted them to read this book. And I believe, because I think on my Facebook feed has now appeared, there is a movie version of this, or like a documentary, something like that, of this book. So I haven't checked it out, but that is the next step. Maybe that'll be another movie. I mean, another movie. Yes, fuck yeah. Coming to the Field Up movie. Uh, but I'll check that one out and see how that is. But anyways, Napoleon Hill, this guy is amazing. It took him like 30 years to write this book. I mean, the individual, kind of summing up, in the late 1800s and 1900s. I mean, he met with Andrew Carnegie. So if things like Carnegie Hall, that type of thing. If that sounds familiar, is that because this guy basically wanted, his goal was to work for this guy or get to know this guy and find out how did this Mr. Carnegie achieved his millions. And by the way, Carnegie was another guy that I admired. I mean, the dude came from nothing and made an empire of everything in his life. I mean, basically with in the metal industry and other things. Fantastic. But basically, the individual told me, "Yeah, I'll tell you, but it's going to take you about 20 years of your life. Are you willing to commit yourself to the cause, so that way and find out what is the secrets and such, and you study." So this guy was funding. Not only was Napoleon Hill learning from Mr. Carnegie and studying, for other wealthy people of the time of that time frame, but he also said, "Hey, are you willing to sacrifice and basically not sell your soul, but technically, I mean, that's to make sure to really find out and dive deep into all these things and what are the common denominators." So, and then Napoleon Hill said pretty much, "Yeah, I'm going to do that," and the dude really did. I mean, I really um, I really got to give it to the individual and some of the things that they talk about right here. And I'll read. I'm gonna read some excerpts from the book, just so I could better quote. I'll try to paraphrase as much as you can, but he talks. And the book has been updated to you know not fit the times, but obviously to make it more relatable to yeah, I guess to make it more relatable, it's been updated to some degree. However, I would venture to say that over 95% of the ex- the manuscript is still intact. It's just because he does give some examples on there. I'm sure that was because of the times back then. So he talks about right here, Mary Kay. Uh, this is the lady who basically started the Mary Kay company, Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, and she basically attributed her success to basically this book. And basically, how the story goes here is she went to this one place, and basically the lady was about to give up on her business. Which, by the way, another thing that this book talks about, and a little bit of research I did in the past, is that most people will give up or they quit when they're basically weeks, months, maybe a year from achieving whatever in their goal in their business and whatever it is that they set out to do in life. Whatever, most of us will throw the flag or walk away from it moments from achieving whatever our desired success. It's amazing, and I mean there's plenty of examples here. Anyways, this lady went to it was kind of what seemed to be like it was a sales seminar, and then they were I guess they were crowning the lady there as being the queen, and Mary Kay went over there to the lady who was crowned, and she said, "Oh, the lady was Miss Beveridge," and she basically told her, and I quote, "Miss Beveridge didn't laugh." She said, "Next there next year I will be crowned. I intend to be queen next year." And what the lady and basically what the lady said to her, to Mary Kay, is that she didn't even laugh at her. She said, "You know, somehow I think you will." And those 5 words right there marked Mary Kay Ash right there. And then next year, she was crowned the queen, and her product and her line, grew from there. And what she achieved is she said that she never basically uh, gave up. She did establish an atmosphere of success in her life, and she said, "Hey, I always imagine myself successful. I always picture myself, visualize the person I desired and that I want to become. Reflect on your past successes, and every success, be it large or small, is a proof that you are capable of achieving more success. Set definite goals. Have a clear direction where you want to be. Uh, be where you, be aware when you begin to deviate from that plan, and take immediate corrective action, and respond positively to life. In other words, develop a self-image of yourself, your reactions to life, and your decisions, and completely within your control. In other words, and what is being said over here, and Mary Kay Ash, again, the founder of Mary Kay Products. Maybe you've seen pink card being driven around. Most likely it's one of those folks. And by the way, shout out to the trophy, my wife. Um, she was one of those folks. She got herself a car and all that stuff. So it can be done. I mean, and she is a driven individual. And sometimes she's the one who, hey, get back on track, uh, with a lot of love behind it. So, but basically over here is you know the battle all starts in here. And I know we've talked about PTSD in the past, and this show kind of correlates with one that when I talked about when I had my buddy Jovan Munoz on the show, and we talked about opening your own business. Is that the battle all starts in here? Is, can I do this? Because that is going to be your biggest roadblock. Is, can you do this? Can you stick and make it through? Because the first year or two of a business, depending on what it is you're going to struggle. That's the bottom line. But you got to stay focused on your vision and make sure that all those things happen. So, and because faith is a state of mind which may be induced by autosuggestion. You've heard me talk in the past about Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. All these guys, is that you got to reprogram yourself and stay the course, even in really hard times, because there are going to be those times. I'm not going to lie. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, I've had different businesses, different life, streams of income, passive or aggressive. In other words, working after work. But nonetheless, it all starts, with that auto suggestion. I can do this. How do you wake up in the morning? Do you automatically grab your phone and you start looking at dumb shit on social media, or do you meditate, set yourself up for the tone for the day, and then you self to yourself some affirmations? I do. I meditate for about 10 15 minutes, depending on what the theme of that motivation is in the morning. And then I'll do and even this book talked about it, because I saw it somewhere and I started doing it. But in this book, it's talked about uh, where this individual had this self-help or psychiatrist. Anyways, he had all his patients do, one of the treatments was do 20 times uh, every day, affirm to himself out loud every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. I do that 30 times, and I started doing this tapping thing right here. But I say every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. I'm telling you, that shit right there. I've been doing that for about good 3 months now. Has helped me tremendously. And again, it's all about reprogramming yourself. And basically, first thing in the morning is, what is that you're feeding your brain, and because you're still somewhat on that alpha and theta type of brain patterns, you're still somewhat in a trance because you're barely getting up. So what is it you're feeding yourself first thing in the morning? Is it negative? Is it positive? Those type of things. And then because that is gonna, if you're the only one that can dictate if you're gonna have a shitty day or not, regardless of what's going on. Because that is the only thing you can control up to the tip of your nose, I guess. Is anything else after that you can't control. The weather, this, you know, you know what I'm saying? So you can dictate what type of day and things that are you going to have. Other things that this book talks about is persistence is again, it's a state of mind, and it can be cultivated. Like all states of mind, persistence is based upon the definite causes, like definiteness of your purpose, what desires that you have, your self-reliance, and your belief in your ability to carry out a plan, and because that's going to encourage you to achieve your goals, your definiteness of that plan to execute, accurate knowledge. What is it you're seeking forward to go out and achieve your goals? And corporations, getting to know your network and expanding yourself rather than just going at it, because again, by you create ex- reaching out to your network and associating yourself with like-minded individuals who have maybe the same goals, want to achieve the same things, or are already there. That's where you want to be, and those are the people you want to get that information from. And sometimes part of growth and achieving your goals is peeling yourself off from shitty friendships, shitty relationships, even sometimes family members. Family members will drag you down. Sometimes they think they're doing it, grounding you, putting you back, bringing you back down. Hey, why are you going to do that? Not many people achieve those things. Why are you going to put yourself? Why are you wasting your time? Sometimes they think they're doing it, because they're taking care of you, but in the end, you know they're the ones who maybe they're afraid for you, and they just don't want you to fail. But everybody in this book that he's talked about at some point in time has had, has gone broke, has something, I mean, shit, this book was written around around the time frame of the Great Depression. So I mean, when the market basically crashed, President Trump back in the 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s, and dude had to declare bankrupt. I mean, he lost a lot of monies. There's been, Grant Cardone didn't achieve his goals, and the dude used, he made okay money, uh, before he started doing, he became a multimillionaire. He didn't do this until his mid to late 40s. And Robert Kiyosaki is another guy. I mean, all these guys, everybody has seen failure. Is the bottom line. But how is it that it's not about how how hard you hit the ground. It's how quickly you can dust yourself and get back up. And if you take another punch, fuck it. It's are you gonna stay down, or are you gonna keep getting back up? Because someday, you're gonna be the one, giving the punches, and uh, you know punching away basically at your at that internal enemy and achieving your goals. Because the moment we give up, I mean, that's mentally, it's pretty much done. I mean, this book was, I really enjoyed it. And here, I'll because I could go basically, I could make a couple of shows about this. But the seven major positive emotions: emotion of desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, hope. Those are things that basically release um, melatonin, uh, and those melatonin or serotonin? No, serotonin. We go to bed with Mel, get up with Sarah. So release, exercising, all those other things. Those are the happy drugs that your body automatically makes. And then negative emotions like fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger. I mean, those on the other side, our emotions drive us in one way or the other. I mean, you ever been, and I think you've heard me talk about it in other shows, but you ever been around an individual that yeah, I think I talked about a couple of shows ago that I call them energy vampires. That the moment they open their fucking mouth, their soup coolers, they start, and you just like, oh my god, they're just draining they're just draining my energy, my vibe, and I completely, you know, it's I have a couple of those folks at work, and as soon as they start jabbering away, I just get up in the middle of whatever they're talking. Even if they're looking at me, I just get up and I fucking walk away. I'm like, well, I'm out. I'm gone. Peace. Because again, those people will affect. I mean, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's like that. It's like a disease. They'll start affecting. Like, oh, I can't do. I don't need this vibe in my life. You know what I'm saying? So, but I highly recommend. If it, hell, I'm not just saying that if you want to be rich or whatever. I I highly recommend this book because at the end of the day, there's a section right here that talks about beware of old man if, and basically it goes, those are people that say, if only I didn't have a wife, if I didn't have a wife and kid, if only I had enough pool, if only I had money, if only I had a good education, if only I could get a job, if only I had good health, if only I had time. If those are all called alibis, and these are, and I've done, believe you me, I've done a bunch of a share of these things as well to justify myself why I threw in why I've thrown in the towel sometimes, or I just kind of like, it's not for me, well, if only I had a better, better things around me, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming, nobody's coming. It's all up to you, excuse me, to do the work and make shit happen is the bottom line. So, be accountable, have, have set goals, write them out, put them on paper, and then execute. The bottom line is execute. Believe it or not, your mind is so powerful if you ask the right questions instead of like, oh man, why am I always so fucked up? Then yeah, that's, you bring in that energy again. You're gonna have those energy vampires come, be around you. That's what you're gonna attract. But if you ask the right questions, what would it be like to have $1 million 2 years from now? I can see, and then see yourself with that money in your bank. Knows it. I mean, and the other side, I've visualized a lot of things, and I've been able to accomplish many things in my life as well. So, and those are the moments, those are the wins that you want to keep reminding yourself, because you can do it and it can be done, is the bottom line. So, at the end of the day, is read this book. I think periodically we'll do, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing, being like, we'll do a book club thing, and I'll share a story of when I was in Iraq with my buddy Hombre Sledge, the Man Hammer. Um, we found some books, some romantic novels, and we started our own book club, because that was the only thing that we could, that we had to read. And in the middle of this Iraqi conflict and shit, every other week we will see each other talk. Anyways, I'll tell you the story later. But the bottom line is, folks, always be a lifelong learner. Reading actually is super healthy for you. It'll help, as we get older, it'll help with things like dementia, Alzheimer's. If that's something you worry about, keep reading, keep educating, never give up, never retreat, never surrender, that type of stuff. But anyways, nonetheless, I just want to give a shout out to the trophy. She's overseas. You may have heard me talk about our family member. Unfortunately, we've had they have passed away. So once again, I want to extend my condolences to my Japanese family in Japan. I just want to send my love to them, to my wife, and our my condolences. And I'm sure some of you folks here too can relate. But cancer sucks, man. Fuck cancer. Uh, this is one of several close people who have passed away because of this. Um, my kid's grandfather passed away from that, as well as some friends of mine. But nonetheless, um, hopefully we can eradicate this disease one day, and extend the quality of life for every human being in the world. So, with that being said, folks, I just want to say, hey, this is a good time to index. If you've been ruminating and thinking about hurting yourself, or basically not coming back from whatever it is that that got you going in that dark hole, don't do it. Reach out to us on the show, reach out to the VA, reach out to TRICARE. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there to help you out because it's all momentarily. And hard times don't last. Hard man, hard woman do last. So think about that for a second. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and end this here. See you later. Hoorah! Get some ice Tomas, dice the key. See you next week, folks. Hoorah!